There was once a lion named Uru who lived on a high hill, his golden fur now touched with the silver of age. His eyes held the wisdom of years, and every morning, without fail, he would walk to the top of that hill, sitting there in silence, watching over the valley below. All the animals knew of him, and all feared him. Among them, the sheep had one rule, a rule passed down from mother to lamb: never, ever go near the lion. Mara was one of those sheep. She had followed this rule her entire life, and yet she was different. Unlike the others, she could never stop watching the hill. Each day, she saw the crow flying to Uru, the fox walking up to him, and the deer climbing the slopes to sit by his side. Something in her heart stirred with curiosity. What did they know that we didn't, she would wonder, a quiet longing rising within her. She wanted to ask so badly, but fear always held her back, whispering in her ear, "Stay safe, stay with the flock." So, day after day, year after year, she remained where she was told to stay. But then one morning, everything changed. The fog arrived early that day, thick and unrelenting, swallowing up everything in its path. Mara walked with the flock, as always, but the fog grew denser with every step until the world around her became eerily quiet. The sounds of the others faded, and soon all that remained was silence. When the fog finally lifted, she found herself alone. No flock, no familiar sights. Everything was strange and new. She looked around in confusion. New trees, unfamiliar hills, until suddenly she heard it, the sound of water flowing close by. Her heart pounded with both fear and hope as she followed the sound, through the trees, up a small slope, until she stopped, frozen in place. There before her was Uru, sitting still, his golden eyes calm and piercing. The sight of him took her breath away. Her instincts screamed at her to run, to flee as fast as she could, but her legs refused to move. The lion didn't roar, he didn't rise, he simply looked at her, and then, to her surprise, he spoke. "You look thirsty, little one," he said, his voice deep and gentle.
Mara stood frozen, her heart racing. She couldn't speak, she couldn't even breathe. She had heard stories, and every fiber of her being told her to run, but the lion's presence held her captive. After a long moment, the lion tilted his head and spoke again. "There is clean water behind me. You can drink." Mara's voice shook as she finally managed to speak. "Why would you give me water?" The lion smiled softly, the kind of smile that seemed to carry 1,000 years of wisdom. "Because you asked," he said. "I didn't ask," Mara protested. "I was lost. I didn't want to be here." "You spoke, chiefly," he replied. "You asked, 'Why would you give me water?' That, little one, is asking, and most animals never even do that much." Mara stood in silence, trying to understand. "What do you mean?" she whispered. Uru's gaze softened as he looked out over the valley below. His voice was slow, almost as if he were recounting a story that had been told for generations. "Every morning, the crow comes to me. I give her what she needs. Every afternoon, the fox comes. I guide him safely along his path. Every evening, the deer arrives, and I let her drink from this stream." He paused, his eyes locking with Mara's. "Do you know what's the same about all of them?" Mara shook her head, her heart heavy with a growing sense of realization. "They ask," Uru said simply. "They ask and they receive. But your flock has never asked, not once in all my years on this hill." Mara's chest tightened. "Because we're afraid of you," she whispered. The lion nodded slowly. "I know. And so your flock drinks dirty water. Your flock stays hungry. Your flock believes this is simply how life is, but it does not have to be this way." Mara's mind raced, the weight of the truth settling into her bones. This was real, this was pain, and it was something they had done to themselves. "What if I go back?" she whispered, the fear returning. "What if no one believes me?" Uru's eyes were warm, full of kindness. "Then you will have clean water," he said quietly, "and they will not." Mara drank from the stream, the water colder and sweeter than anything she had ever tasted. When she turned to leave, the lion spoke one last time. "Come back," he said, his voice low and steady, "and bring anyone brave enough to walk with you." The crow asked, the fox asked, the deer asked, and life gave them exactly what they needed. Mara realized, as she walked away from the lion, that she had been standing far from what she truly wanted, telling herself the answer was no, telling herself it wasn't safe. But what if the only thing standing between her and everything she dreamed of was one simple question? What if all she had to do was ask? Ask. Just ask.